Well, hello and welcome everybody to this afternoon's webinar session about SMARTUpdate and what's new in the software. I see many participants from all over the world right now, and I'm happy to introduce my presenter. In this case, it's Florin Tuduse. He will guide you through the presentation and the live demo. And I do the moderation this afternoon. I'm Jan Stopfang, the CEO of B&W Software. Well, for the next about 45 minutes, we'll show this webinar, and the webinar itself will be recorded, and you can have a download link later on for recording or replaying the session. The session itself will be a presentation and a live demo in Creo. During the session and afterwards, we will have a short poll. And after the demonstration, we'll open the session up for a Q&A session. Please use the chat function of the webinar tool to provide your questions so we can answer them in a dedicated manner. And if we cannot make all the questions later on, we'll be happy to contact you via email. Yeah. Then I'll hand over to Florin and enjoy the webinar.
Hello from my side as well. Here's Florin Tuduse, Product Manager of SMARTUpdate. We have today exciting news about SMARTUpdate, but first I would like to say a few words for the ones who are new to the product or who are interested in. And I have a few items on the agenda. What is SMARTUpdate? Motivation, short overview over the current functionality, and then we'll go to the new functionality. What is SMARTUpdate? Everybody knows about model check, and it maybe every one of you have already struggled to configure and run it properly. SMARTUpdate is an alternative to model check, but at the same time at a completion. You can enhance the functionality of model check by many features like relations, parameters, stat features, and so on. And you can increase the quality of your data and also the amount of functionality that you can dispose of. On the other side, the SMARTUpdate is a software solution which helps you to make sure that the quality of your CAD data is on a high level. Regarding integrating your data and in your current system, you don't want to have missing parameters, missing stat features, and other elements. SMARTUpdate checks everything, and whenever you integrate the data in your own system, you can make sure that everything looks just fine. Regarding MBD design, model-based definition, SMARTUpdate is your best friend because you can just create all the necessary elements which supports the model-based design concept, like layers and orientations, layer states, simplified representations, combined states. If you would have to create this by hand, it would take forever. But with SMARTUpdate, you can define stacks of elements you need and create them just with a button push. But what else is SMARTUpdate? Now, in the light of the new developments, it's just an open door to the future of the quality insurance of the CAD data, because within a functionality, you can monitor the quality issues in real time, and if necessary, you can take measures and play back the errors as correction rules back to the system. Next, I would like to say a few words about why you might want to use SMARTUpdate or implement it in your company. Maybe you remember that scene from Star Wars where all the stormtroopers were running or walking in perfect synchronization. The same way we would like to have our CAD data in our systems to play perfectly with each other, which is not always the case. Therefore, we can use SMARTUpdate to master considerable deviations from the standard. When we move from one system like folder-based and network folder-based system to Windchill, we have a lot of deviations from the current standard. Or if the company is purchased and included in our company as well, we need to master this tremendous amount of deviations, which we easily can do with SMARTUpdate. Whenever you split a log or sew it by your own hands, you know that it's a tremendous amount of work, but you can do so many mistakes. If you try to do this with CAD data, you probably realize really fast that you can your actions are pretty error prone, and yeah, you have really a lot of tedious work to do. Therefore, SMARTUpdate can help you to correct large amount of data in batch mode. Just set the configuration up, start it, and let the software do its work. Whenever you need to fit in your data into a Windchill, into a PDM system like Windchill, you have many errors in your parts that you don't want to land in the Windchill system. SMARTUpdate acts as a gatekeeper with a special functionality to keep the erroneous parts outside and let in only the parts that match the standards. And again, when it comes to implementing model-based definition, it's not possible to do this without the help of a proper software, because there are just too many elements to create. And with SMARTUpdate, we just can define one part, drawing and assembly, import the settings like layers, layer states, combined states, orientations, and everything else into the configuration, and apply these settings to all used models. Whenever something changes, you can just change the settings in the configuration and then apply the new settings again on all used models. So you have a really easy way to adapt your MBD environment. Anyway, with SMARTUpdate, you have the possibility to stay on top in your industry area, because whenever something changes in your company, doesn't matter if your company gets fusioned with another company, or you have own standard deviations, you can just update these standards easily in the configuration and apply all the standards to the new models and to the new trend. Well, a few words about the covering functionality. I have 3 categories: part and assembly, drawing, and general. For part and assembly, we have a pretty impressive amount of functionality, like, for example, parameters, layers, start features, relations, any kind of functional that you can imagine, and this number is growing. For the drawing, we have drawing nodes, drawing symbols, drawing program. There are some drawings, like pretty old drawings, having drawing program entries. There are some old relations that most of users want to get rid of. We also can set up, like, check and correct drawing properties, the DTL file. And in the general mode, we can correct parts and assemblies and drawings in batch mode. We can fix parts and assemblies and drawings in the Windchill workspace. And as mentioned, we have this gatekeeping functionality to keep the parts out of the Windchill system. Well, you can take a look on this functionality list, and for the next step, we have a poll regarding this functionality that you might be interested in. So take a minute and fill in the answers, and after this, we will go on with the presentation. Okay, thank you very much. Well, we will go on with the new functionality. The first functionality I want to tell you about is body. I mean multi-body. PTC included in Creo 7 this feature as well at last, and we tried to implement in SMARTUpdate also the corresponding functionality to handle the bodies. To show you what we implemented and how we did it, I would like to switch to the live demo. I created a body, actually a part as a multi-body part. And as you see, we have here several bodies. We have the main body, and then I have a small decoration on top of each letter as an extra body. In SMARTUpdate, I have a configuration where I try to first set the body material. As we see, the body material is everywhere an island. And we want to set for the B letter, the material to steel. For the end letter, ampersand letter, we want to set copper, and for the other one, bronze. So we check first. We see the results that we need to do something. We select the checks, and then we change it. We can see the materials have been changed. And also we get here the feedback. Next, I would like to turn on the next group to rename the body by name. So I will search for the bodies by the names. For example, in this case, I would search for the B, and I would like to rename it to Bachchester. And I would check this as well. And we see here this body must be renamed to Bachschuster, this one to Und, like in German, and this one to Weber. So again, we update and we get the bodies renamed. And in the next step, I would like to rename these bodies back, but not by name, by finding them by names, but rather by position. So I have here a new check. I search the body by position on position number 2, and I give it a new name, B. I will also turn on this category as well. And then we just rename the bodies back. And the last function I would like to show you is the checking the body count, because it may be that many companies will still operate with only one body for the next time until this functionality gets tested properly. And you might want to prevent the users from creating several bodies. So we have this check body count check where you see that the actual body count is 4 and allowed is only 1. So based on that, you can just you can change the, for example, you can tell the designer that this part is not allowed to be checked in windshield. This might be a check for, and the reason for keeping this part at the gate. Okay, now I would switch back to my presentation, and I would like to tell you about the next new functionality, which is called SDA. And if all the world leaders got together and asked me what the world needs tomorrow, I would say more visionaries, because they would show us the way in the future. And one of these visionaries is Jens Wagner from Schaeffler, with whom I developed this functionality. This functionality is called SDA by the name of SMARTDataAnalysis. And the main idea is to extract data from the Creo models, which are opaque. You can't open them with as text file. You just have the data in a proprietary format and take all this data, which is relevant for quality, and write it in a database. Later on, when you have the database, you can run different kinds of analysis and tests on this data for future reference, and you can monitor the quality, the current quality, the trends in the quality of your parts and of your CAD data in general. So this is a tool to not only improve the quality of your CAD data, but also ensure it by monitoring continuously. You also can create new configurations based on the data that you collect, and play back this configuration to SMARTUpdate as new set of rules to check and correct the next batch of parts. For this part, I also have a live demo. And I would change it to this folder. Well, here we have several parts of different kinds. We have parts, we have assemblies, and we also have drawings. I have a configuration where I have this SDA check. And whenever I create this SDA check in the configuration, SMARTUpdate extracts all the data it finds in these models and writes this data to a database. So let's just pick a few models. Basically, you just select everything and push on update and let SMARTUpdate extract all data from all the models. But in this case, I would just select a few. And these parts will be opened, all the data will be read, and everything will be written in the background in the database. Everything is ready now, and we can switch to the database. Where everything has been written. So we see here the models that have been added. We have different kinds of columns, and from the models, not only the models themselves have been extracted, but also their properties like parameters and features and all kinds of properties. So everything is now here stored in this database. You can also access it through another web app, for example, that allows you to see more details and present in a more user-friendly manner. And for example, we have here a list of the models that we got. We can refresh that, and then you can go on every model and show some details. You can define some checks within the database, and you just can also run these checks in the database and show these differences here in this overview of the model. So you have, for example, some problems here at material. In this case, for this part, shouldn't have been assigned. You have some unit issues here where the weight is in gram, and so on. So basically, you can create views for these models, and you can define it as you like. But at the same time, you also can create overviews and charts for your depending on your needs. And for example, I have here one first chart representing the number of models checked, and we have 13 parts, 5 assemblies, and 7 drawings. The overall quality of the models that we have is displayed in this case. 6 of them are correct, and 18 must should look like having erroneous, and 17 are actually overlapping with the erroneous because some areas have not been checked. On the bottom side, we have an example of how the historical quality evolution can look like. For example, we might have a number of not checked models at some point, and the number of correct models and the erroneous models are pretty low. And then at some point, some data or CAD data correction software has been implemented, and the not checked models started to be checked. And then we saw that the number of erroneous models is actually pretty high. And then with the time, this goes down, and at the same time, the number of correct models goes up. So this is just an example. It depends on every company's data. But this is a web app that you can run either on your computer or tablet or smartphone, depends on the situation. it can be developed further. So this is basically the future for the next generation of smart update checks and interaction with Creo models regarding increasing quality. Okay, so this was the presentation from my side, and I hope you liked it and you got enough information to get curious and ask us any questions. So before we will go to the question and answer session, I would like to give you a hint about the next webinars that we are having tomorrow. And especially I want to point out this automated color coding in only a few steps, where you can also see how you can apply color coding to parts, to models, to parts and assemblies with Smart Update and color and Smart Color in a batch mode. So make sure to put this on your list tomorrow. It's a great opportunity to see how these tools can work together and improve this area as well of the color coding in your parts and company. Okay, so now I will hand over to Jan for the questions.
Okay, back to me. Thanks, Florin, for your brief overview of the new capabilities and the current functions of SMARTUpdate. Well, in the meantime, there have been posted a few questions. So the first one that I have on my list is, can the batch mode run in a windshield environment?
Yes, batch mode can be run in a Windchill workspace whenever you want to check and correct the CAD data. You just can check out a specific amount of models into a workspace of your choice, and then check everything, correct, save, and then check everything back in. It's not possible to correct data on the common space, but this is intentional.
Well, the next question that I have is, can you add relations in the post-regeneration region using SMARTUpdate?
Yes, we can. It's possible to be set up if you want to have it in the initial or post-regeneration area. You can add relations by using regular expressions, and we have a relations engine that allows you to change everything about the relations, even if else relations blocks, and even translates, replace old parts of relations with new ones. So in this area, we are pretty flexible, including, of course, writing relations in the post-regeneration area.
Okay, I hope this answers the question. The next question is about the multibody functionality. Can you use the material properties for filtering the multibody check?
Yes, in SMARTUpdate we have every check that we have is possible to be set as a condition. So if you want to filter somebody by some material value, you create a material check in this specific body. You can find the body by name or position, and also set up the expected material and set the check as a condition, and then using this, you use this check as a filter for your body.
Okay, as there are not any more questions right now, so we can just finish the webinar. Oh, there is another question just coming in. What type of database is SDA using? I assume it's a standalone, not linked to I cannot read this. Not linked to Windchill or Teamcenter, correct?
Yes, this is correct. This is a standalone database, which I use now. It's actually MySQL, but basically you can use any kind of database that you have available, and there are connectors for every kind of database. We can adapt SMARTUpdate to write in any kind of database, depending on your needs. And afterwards, you can create the necessary apps on that platform as well. So it's indeed a standalone database. But of course, for example, if you need to write the data in Windchill or some other system, might also be possible. But for now, it's a test environment which uses MySQL or the SQL standard.
Thanks, Florin. Another question comes in here. Would SDA allow to check if a CAD model is MBD compliant?
Yes, this is a great use case, because you have the checks for MBD in the configuration, and you run them over the model you have or the models you have, and the results can also be written into the database. So it's the basic functionality of SMARTUpdate plus the extracted data that you have, which you have in the database. So yeah, it's possible anyway.
Okay. So there's just a comment. Great. No more questions so far. If you feel like asking questions later on, don't hesitate to contact us. Either you can contact Florin directly with his email address, or you can contact me if you like to. You may subscribe to the newsletter or later on find the recording of the webinar on our YouTube channel. If you want to try yourself, ask us for a demo license, no problem, and we'll help you to install the software and get it run for your use cases. Well, when I close the webinar, you'll be guided to a short survey for us to get a little bit more information about it. So this brings me just to thank Florin for his presentation. Thanks for your participation, and well, have a great day, and looking forward to hearing from you tomorrow in our next webinars. Thanks a lot, and bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.